Woo! Good morning, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, everywhere. There's going to be a recorded section of this or a live section. Sorry, I'm adjusting shit. So, flipping and reverse it and all that good stuff. So, hopefully, you all are doing great out there. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. Hopefully, you all are doing great again out there. It is bright early on a whatever fucking morning this is. What is it? Wednesday morning? Because yesterday was Tuesday, right? So today is Wednesday, or so they say. Depends on what calendar you choose to believe in. All that goody good stuff is what it boils down to. Today we're going to be talking about chasing dreams, chasing them dreams that we have or have had. So I'm going to be talking about a little bit of information that has come out in the comic world that has shaken the comic world to the core. I'm just kidding. It really didn't. I'm not a big slab guy. So this is where we're going to start. We're not going to do with chasing dreams yet. We're going to get into that while we're here at the show. All right. So I'm not a big slab guy. In my entire collection, I've got two slabs. And if you don't know what slab is, this is a slab. You hear that? Nice, hard plastic right here that encapsulates a comic book. Yes, this is a 9.6. This is the third printing of the first appearance of Punchline in Batman number 89. And this one's done up by CGC, which is you can see right here, CGC, where it says CGC right there. Now, on the flip side, you've got a couple of other companies. I'm about to sneeze, and I apologize. That's me. So you've got a couple other companies. One being CBCS and the other one being PSA. Well, as of yesterday, CBCS decides to close its doors. The only thing they're going to be working on for CBCS, I believe, is what they said, is working on the cards. They're no longer going to be doing any of the comic books or anything like that. And I'm not even sure they're going to be doing the cards. I'm going to have to look into it a little bit more on the research side. But that leaves CGC and PSA for your grading needs. Now, that is if you want to get your shit graded. A lot of people don't like to encapsulate their books, but a lot of people like to encapsulate them because it protects the book. And then on the flip side of that, it supposedly drives the book up higher because of whatever grade it gets. Like a 9.8, a 9.9, or a 10, those are your highest grades when it comes to a comic book. It is very, 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 very super rare to get a 10. I've seen a million 9.8s. I've seen very, very few 9.9s, and I've seen even less in the 10 range when it comes to a graded book. Now, when it comes to graded cards and shit like that, you can find those all day long. And not just through CGC, but through PSA and CBCS and things like that. A lot of people just didn't like CBCS just because they came after CGC, and people just didn't like them because they thought it was the Dollar General to the Walmart, if you will. And even though they're selling the same shit, they're both grading, they're both encapsulating, they're both protecting your investment. And then that's the other flip side to it, is how much money you have to spend to get this encapsulated. Because if it needs to be pressed, or if it needs to be cleaned, or if there's a signature on it, there's all these different factors that you have to plug into every time you get a book graded. Now, I bought these already graded. I didn't have them graded. I do have books here that I would love to get graded, but they're protected. They're in boxes. They're stored flat. They are um, in bags and boards, and they're expensive comics. So Do I need to get them encapsulated in plastic? Not really. Don't forget to like, share, and follow as you get here. Again, I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. I'm trying to put this back on the wall without it falling down behind my desk. I think that's how it needs to sit. But again, I only have 2 slab comics in my entire collection. And I know a lot of people that that's all they collect anymore. They don't collect raw comics. They only purchase these slab comics. And I get the appeal. Trust me. It's just like, why do I have Warduke encapsulated in plastic? Well, he's not technically encapsulated in plastic. This is just a clamshell that I can open at any point in time. Unlike that book over there, I cannot open that book up anymore. It can be popped open, but then you break the seal. Then you risk damaging that 9.6, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. This one I can still take out and play with it if I wanted to. Not going to happen, but, you know. But then I can also hang it by this little tag on the wall or just stick it in a box with all the rest of the collectibles. As you see behind me, they're not in box. They're not in a, a crate or anything like that. But that's nothing but action figures. Mainly 96% of the action figures over there are the McFarlane line Batmans of some sort or another. And the majority is Batman. I mean, if you just look at this whole section right here, that's nothing but Batman. This whole section right here, and then right here going up the wall, and then the one on the floor down here. So, they're action figures. Yeah, you can play with them. Yeah, you can do this. Yeah, you can do that. So that's the big news right now, is that CBCS has decided to close its doors. The only sad part about that whole thing for me is the people that are going to lose their jobs come April. I don't know. Again, I'm going to have to read into a little bit more to see what all CBCS is going to be doing after the fact. I don't know if they're just closing up altogether. Or if they're going to be switching it, like someone else said, that back to their just doing cards. And I do have several encapsulated cards at the 10 range, or at 9.6 to a 10 range. So it's much easier to get cards graded at a 10 than it is a comic book, because there's so many factors that go into looking at a comic book. And that means that you got to take all the corners into account, make sure that there's no blunt corners, that they're sharp and all that good stuff. And then you got to look down the spine to make sure there's no bends or ticks or little white marks, which is called a tick mark, that comes off. Make sure there's no creases or folds. You got to flip open the comic book. You got to go through the comic book. Again, so many different factors when it comes to a comic book or a graphic novel, as opposed to just a baseball card, a football card that you just got out of the pack, and you're like, no, this is getting encapsulated, and so I'm going to get it graded, and there you go, boom, you just got a 10 off of that card because you put it in the little sleeve, then you put it in a hard protector like this one. This one, let me see, let me just look. This one would not come back as a 10. It does have sharp corners, but that little corner right here, I mean, this is an old card. This is from 1990. 1990. Some of you weren't even born when this card was made. So there is two flaws, and it's both on the corners for this card. And what I mean by that is, if you look right here, you see that white on that corner right there? That means that that's already a flaw. And then this top corner has a little bit of a bump in it right there. So that means it's a rounded corner. It's not sharp. So this would probably come back at a 9.5 if I had to guess, a 9.6. It's still a high card, but it's not a 10, is all I'm trying to point out right there. Now, if you've got rounded corner cards like Pokemon cards and things like that, there's a whole different factor for that. It's just like this Art the Clown card, Pokemon card right here. This one would come back most likely at a 10 if I were to take it and get it graded. Just looking, because there's no flaws in the coloring, there's no scratches, no anything like that. On the flip side, reverse it. Again, no flaws, no tick marks on the front, no scratches, all that good stuff. And yes, this is bought on the TikTok shop. There is a guy out there that sells these and many, many others. I can't remember what the name is of this guy that sells it on the TikTok shop. So this one would come back as a 10 if I were to get it graded. And the girlfriends would too. Let's see here. Uh-oh. Okay, I might have had an echo in there, and nobody was telling me. So there was another button pushed. Oh no. Oh no. And so that's the big news coming out of the comic world right now is CBCS has decided to close its doors. Again, I don't know what that fully means yet to the grading world, if they are going to continue to grade certain things, because come April, which is right around the corner, they are stopping their production and grading of things. Now, again, I saw someone post somewhere else after this post, and it was saying that they were going to be doing cards only. So I'm not sure if that's the case or not. Something I'll be looking into, and on the next live, we will have an answer. So we'll keep that in the forefront for mind of our thoughts and the prayers for the families, because that's the biggest kicker, is that all the people that are losing their jobs and losing their paycheck, because unfortunately some people, that's all they look at their job as, is a paycheck. And because there's no fun, there's no joy in the job that they're doing. So unlike me, which is all artwork all the time and homesteading. Now, sometimes you want to take a break from all that. Because it's a lot of work. Taking care of animals 24/7, because you got to keep them protected from predators. You got to do this, you got to do that. And it's just like one thing after another. When it comes to artwork, you're doing it from sun up until, you're doing it from sundown until sun up. Because once sun up happens, that's when all the animal chores have to start happening. You've got to let the birds out. You've got to let the pigs out. You've got to, all these different factors when it comes to a homestead. And then it's gardening season right now. Yes, we still have the potential for a hard freeze up until May, basically, because April we still could get a hard freeze. So you've got to regulate your plants and make sure that you are keeping them in a warm environment until that last bit of cold threat is gone. Because right now it's 52 degrees, so I'm not sure when the next bout of cold weather is happening here in Arkansas, because that's where we are, is in the Bible Belt area. And oh, looky there, he finally showed up to the show. What, 20 minutes late? No, almost 20 minutes late. We're 15 minutes into the show, and he's just now showing up. Good God. If he hadn't been on those other girl sites, he would have been over here sooner. So, put the Miracle Whip down, right? Put the Miracle Whip down. All right, so today's title, now that we've already done the comic book news over there on that side of the fence, is Chasing Your Dreams. I know a lot of people don't like certain quotes and certain people that quote them and stuff like that. And but this one is coming from Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, get to the chopper. And his quote is, every morning you have two options: continue to sleep in with your dreams, or wake up and chase them. I don't sleep in. So what does that mean? Oh, I'm chasing my dreams. Are they slow going? Absolutely. And what do I mean by chasing your dreams? What does he mean by chasing your dreams? What dreams did you have growing up? What dream did you have of becoming when you were growing up? In the beginning, since my grandfather was a firefighter, I thought about being a firefighter as a kid, because what's more exciting than playing with fire? Well, putting out fires. I ended up playing with fires as a kid more than I did putting them out. Let's just be real. All right. And so the firefighter thing didn't happen. Thought about being in law enforcement. That's where my brother and sister ended up, not me. I was always the black sheep rebel in the family, if you will. I mean, you could literally talk to anybody in high school, and they would tell you I would be the one most likely going to jail for something. Back in the day, all right? I was that typical kid that wore the black trench coat, had the long hair, had the rocker boots, all that good stuff. Even though I wore shorts a lot that were homemade by my grandmother, I still indulged in the blackness of it all when it came to clothing. And so, you know, the typical look of, unfortunately, some of what's happened in the world today, that's the look I had back in high school era and middle school. But I did have a black duster, a Western duster. That was pretty cool. I didn't have a cowboy hat because I didn't do the cowboy shit. And I still don't do the cowboy shit except for Dallas Cowboys. That's totally different. All right. And so I was the one most likely going to jail for something. Okay. When I was in school. With the whole most likely to succeed or all that stuff that they used to do back in the day. Yeah, that wasn't any of my stuff. So I did think about being in the military for a hot minute in growing up because my grandfather was in the military. Well, that didn't come to fruition until I turned 33 years old. You know, I'm 33 years old joining the Army, going to Fort Benning, Georgia, all that good stuff in the middle of summer. You know, 110, 120 degree heat. So basic training was not fun, any stretch of the imagination. But then the next group behind us got the pussy card, if you will, because they got to have their cell phones, their computers, their tablets, a little card that they could hand off to the cadre, your drill sergeant, and be like, "You're stressing me out. I can't handle it." And so they put this little thing on their uniform that says, basically, "I'm stressed out. You can't yell at me. You can't do anything." So for that entire day, the drill sergeants had to be nice to that recruit. They would not have survived the military of the 60s. Let's just say the 20s on down up until like 90 something. Okay. 2004 was the last of the yelling in your face without a card, you know. 2005. And then the very next group, like I said, had all the gentle parenting, if you will, which doesn't work. All right. You can come at me for that. I don't give a shit. Gentle parenting does not work. They need corporal punishment back in schools, 100%. Your kid needs SWATs in school, 100%. Just like we did, you know, growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I can't remember when they took the SWATs out of the school, but that was the biggest mistake they ever did, in my opinion. One of the biggest mistakes in the school system that they've ever done. But because it kept you in line, you had consequences for your actions. Okay. So chasing dreams, and what I mean by that is right here. This is chasing dreams. After the military, of course, I've always been into art. So art just was the natural fit. Chasing dreams is having your work out there in the world for people to get anywhere. Legacy Comics website right here. Bum, bum, bum. The job number 3. Painted cover for a variant cover for Patrick Hickey Jr. and Legacy Comics. This is chasing a dream. My artwork is out there. My artwork has been out there. My artwork is worldwide, actually, to be honest. Let's just be real. It's in different countries right now. Psycho Sal was the first one that I got on, thanks to William Russell. Okay? This is number 3. So right now, my lot in life is to be on the 3rd book of anybody that's got a 3rd comic book coming out. I want to be on the cover because apparently that's where I'm supposed to be. And so these are 2 of my 3 professional covers out there in the world right now. My 3rd one should be coming in. It should have already came in to him on Saturday. So that means that he's signing the books, and then I should be getting my allotment of comics to come in. For Condry, Man's Best Friend, I did the entire thing. Now, he did have another artist come in and do another cover, a variant cover, and there's 3 covers for the book. So 2 are mine, one being the regular cover, one being the variant cover, and then a variant color cover done by another artist that he brought in, which looks really good as well. So, Chasing the Dream is also in this right here. This is the finished cover that is going to be going out to my buddy Tristan, who commissioned this piece right here, and it's all finished up. You got some actual gold paint in there, not like 24 karat gold or anything like that. It's just whatever this shit is, metallic gold paint by Folk Art. Treasure Gold is what it's called. And so it blings out, you get that little bit of a shine in there. Plus on his caps on his teeth, he's also got the shine in there as well. So this is chasing a dream too, because this stuff goes out to the world and people proudly display this stuff on a regular basis. And so, anytime my artwork gets purchased, I usually get feedback and tags whenever people decide they're going to hang them up, or if they're just flipping through their art books and stuff like that. They will tag me in the artwork, and so boom, now my stuff is out there. I've had celebrities comment on my stuff. I've had musicians comment on my stuff, and it's just like that makes you feel good whenever you get those compliments from those people, because you've been chasing this dream of being an artist, of getting your artwork to the world, and now you're doing it. Yes, I've stopped going to comic book conventions, and I'm not the only one that stopped going to comic book conventions. And it's just like, well, why are you stopping going to comic book conventions? Isn't that how you get your stuff out there to the world even more? Absolutely, it is. But the thing comes down to the hustle and bustle of getting everything ready, the hustle and bustle of getting new prints, which is everything from canvas prints, which I do have canvas prints running around here somewhere, on the Aussie piece. That one, not that one, but this one. This Aussie piece, I've already got canvas prints on. I just don't know where I put them. They're running around here somewhere. So I've already got canvas prints of this one. We've got shirts of this one. We've got, prints of this one. And you've got to get it all set up together before you get to going to the shows. Which means you're spending a lot of money on restocking your supplies when it comes to what you're selling. And then the price of the convention booth itself. You're already set back, like I've talked about before. You're already set back anywhere between $1,200 to $1,500 before you even hit the show. So to even break even, you've got to make back that $1,500 right off the bat. So if your day one show sucks and you only bring in $150, $300, well, now I've still got X amount more. Say you brought in $500, that still leaves you $1,000 in the hole. Okay. So I see why a lot of people are stopping going to comic book conventions. If you aren't in the public eye, such as being in Marvel Comics as an artist, being in DC Comics as an artist, being in Image Comics as an artist. The independent world does well when it comes to selling at comic book conventions and things like that, just because people want something new, something fresh. They're tired of Superman. They're tired of Wonder Woman. Now you have the diehards that will always buy those. Batman's, X-Men, Captain America, Iron Man, all that stuff. You've got people that are the diehards that are going to continue to purchase those items because those are icons in the comic book world. But you've got those people also that want a fresh approach. What the fuck? I did not. TikTok, you and your goddamn motherfucking piece of shit AI needs to fucking pull your head out of your goddamn ass, because I did not tell anybody to go anywhere to buy things outside of TikTok shop. So you need to fucking get your head out of your fucking ass. I am sick and tired of your bullshit. We've got a restriction, folks. Because apparently me talking about going to comic book conventions is telling you to go buy shit outside of TikTok shop. My appeal will probably not be approved. So we're going to be very limited on who's visiting us today. So if you're here, you're here. And if you find us by mistake, enjoy and stay here, because TikTok is being an asshat. Okay. So back to my non-ranting side. So you've got a lot of moving parts when it goes into comic book conventions. So I get why a lot of people are bowing out of comic book conventions, because it is expensive right off the bat. When you're having to make up, some people are having to make up like $2,500 to $4,000 before they even get to a show. And that's a vendor. And that's people that sell action figures and things like that. So that's why you see, when you go to comic book conventions, prices that are slightly higher than what you would find, going to a comic book shop or buying online and things like that. Because we people are having to recoup our cost of loss that we've already lost. So, and some of the stuff I collect, like Warduke here, I have no idea what he's worth. I haven't looked him up in a while. At one point in time, I think he was right around $25-$30. I could be wrong on that. So, and it's just like, you've got to recoup all the lost money before you even get to the show. I mean, once you get to the show, not before you get to the show. I mean, if you could recoup it before you get to the show, that's even better. Which some people can, because they do what's called a pre-commission list, which they supposedly start working on before they get to the convention. And so they've already got people buying before they get to the convention, so that when they get there and be like, hey, I'm such and such, and it's like, oh yeah, here's your piece, But I like to do it while the people are there and they can see me do the piece right then and there, and that's why, I had my price list on the table, all that good stuff. And so that, they could pick and choose which one they wanted. Okay, I want this piece because I want the headshot, in color, so on and so forth. And, you got your different sizes. You've got your 9x12, you've got your comic book, which you already saw, the Joker over there. And then you've got, your comic book size, you've got your 9x12, and then you got your 11x15 size. I never took my 18 by 24 because that would just be ridiculous to try and do that on a table that you only have literally about this much room to work with. And it's not a whole lot of room to work with when it comes to drawing on that side. So, because you've got your other merchandise around you. I would always have the originals in front of me, and then the rest of the table would be a prints or whatever else we had, on the table. So, yeah, chasing your dreams is whatever dream you've had in your life, but yet you're working for somebody else. Are you chasing your dream? I was never chasing my dream up until basically 2017, really, when I went to my first comic book convention. Have I been drawing my entire life? Absolutely. I've got one piece of artwork that survived a house fire that was at my parents' house. I think it was from my 5th grade era of life. And it was this creature, this snake-looking creature with bat wings and all this good stuff under his arms. And he's reaching up to the sky with his tongue coming out of his mouth and all that good stuff. And I redid that one when I went to a technical college. It wasn't a full college. It was just a 9-month college, just to get the technical aspect and to get the business aspect of it all, and how to get hired, as an artist. So, I worked in the art industry up until 2001. And then, actually 2007. And then after I went to the Army, then after that, I left that art job and started working as a trainer for the next 2 years. And then after that, once that gig was up in 2010, got out and of the military. And then after that, I just started working odds and end jobs up until I landed over here in Arkansas in the Fort Smith area, and then started working asset protection. And then I did that up until 2022. And then that's when I handed them my letter of resignation and then fully chased my dream of living on my own, if you will. Homestead, artwork, that's what I do all day long. So I am fully now living the dream. Could I have waited a few years? Absolutely. Should I have waited a few years? Who knows? You never know that full answer. But if you have a dream and you have the opportunity and means to get to that dream now, in your 20s, in your 30s, do it. Please do it. Just because you should not be chasing the dream of somebody else. Working at Walmart, working at Target, working at Starbucks, working at anybody, McDonald's, Sonic, Brahms. If you have a dream and you have a way to fulfill that dream now, when you're younger, do it. Chase it, run with it. It's just like all these people that I'm looking at on this wall that chased a dream. Art Nichols, no longer with us, but he did great artwork for Marvel. Joe Jusko. If you don't know who Joe Jusko is, go look him up. Fantastic, phenomenal painter. Working in the industry, chasing his dream. Guy Gilchrist, working with Jim Henson and the Muppets. He is what is called the Muppet, or Jim Henson artist is what he's called. Stephen Hughes, Jason Jensen, working with Chaos Comics back in the day. Unfortunately, Stephen Hughes is no longer with us either. Marat Michaels, Dan Fraga, both working in the industry from Marvel to Image Comics, where they had their own titles. So Jim Lee, Jolly, I mean, all these people, Rags Morales, John Betty, Kerry Gamil. I mean, the list goes on and on of all these people that chase their dreams. And I'm not just talking about in the comic book industry. I mean, you got Steve Jobs and Gates and all that stuff, you know, that chase their dreams in the tech industry. You know, Elon Musk. You know, a lot of people don't like these names that I'm putting out, but it has nothing to do with their name. It has to do with what they did. They chased a dream. They built something from the ground up. Now, is my name ever going to be successful? Who knows? I don't care. I'm chasing my dream. You know? And if people want to come along for the ride, so be it. But I'm not going to let people hold me down and not chase my dream. Because I did that in my second marriage. Whenever I got into that marriage in 2010, she literally told me that there is no way that artwork can bring enough money into the house to pay the bills. And I listened to that over and over and over again. To the point where all this right here, I did this with. I sat it all down. I put it away. For 6 years, roughly, I did not touch any artwork, period. For 6 years in that marriage, I was miserable. Because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I wasn't living my dream. And so, if I can tell you to do anything out there, that is chase your dream. Chase your dream, live your dream, be your dream. And if you can't figure it out, what your dream is supposed to be, look at what you enjoy doing the most. You know, some people that's OF. Some people that's playing with mayonnaise. For some people, yes, that was a little dig at you, Roy, right there. Some people, it's writing. It's in the author world. And nowadays, you can get your book published super quick. Kelly Badass. The book signing right here that we're getting ready to do this weekend over in Ozarks on March 29th from 2 to 4 p.m. I did the cover for this. And if you weren't here for the story time of the other day, someone asked the author, James Bishop, if the cover was AI. And he had to explain to her, no, the cover is not AI. In fact, the artist that did the painting for the book is following this thread. And so I chime in, you know, I appreciate you thinking my artwork is AI. I don't know if that's a compliment or a diss to my artwork. But, you know, it's like, no, it's acrylic on canvas. And, you know, I didn't give the size because I want to say it was a 16 by 20 piece. I could be wrong on that. And could have been 11 by 14 or something. I can't remember right off the top of my head. And it's just like, but I appreciate, you know, you commenting on the post, because, you know, that makes an artist feel good to, you know, get claimed to be AI, I guess. But here, no AI artwork ever is done here. Just FYI. Um, and I don't even like AI artwork, period. That's just me. So, welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here. We are talking about chasing your dreams. And if you have a dream out there, please, please, by all means, chase it. You see a lot of people that post all kinds of content creation here on TikTok. They are chasing their dream, getting that little bit of pennies and dollars and cents that they get from the platform, not just here, but on Facebook and things like that. I see that my voice over here has stopped working. So, I'll be downloading this video to post on my other social medias, Facebook and YouTube and things like that. So, but I'm just keeping my recording going because it has my timer on it. We go for a little over an hour sometimes. Sometimes we go close to 2, depending on the subject matter. But back to Kelly Badass being an author who's chased her dreams, and now she has 2 books, poetry books, out there on Amazon right now. Larry Donald, a friend of mine who graciously brought me on board his project for Ori, O-R-I, which should be on Amazon as well. I should be getting my comps in for that one too. And that's between this book, Sour Worlds, Calamides, and Ori. That's 2 novels that I have on Amazon as well. Now, Ori is a kid's book depicting the life of Larry Donald, who is a boxer. It is depicting his life of a boxer as coming from a kid's point of view, showing what you can achieve in your life if you chase your dreams. I remember him starting out, he was in the asset protection world, and then he left that and chased his dream, becoming a boxer and becoming a trainer and things of that nature. So dreams are achievable. You just got to put in the work. If your dream is being a housewife or a house husband, those can be achievable too. I'm not saying don't chase those dreams, but do you want your dream to be for somebody else on a regular basis? Now, do I share my dream? Absolutely. Because with a girlfriend, I want her dreams to be a reality too, which she loves the small engine stuff. She loves to work on bringing dead things back to life, such as cars, motorcycles, lawnmowers, whatever, small engine repair. She loves it. Me, I hate working on cars. I will cuss, I will throw shit, I will punch the car, just like Conan did the camel in Conan the Barbarian when Arnold Schwarzenegger played Conan, and he punches the camel out. That's what I will do with the car, because they frustrate the fuck out of me. And I'm not afraid to admit that, I hate working on cars. Okay. But it's a necessary evil because why? You save yourself a lot of money. What the fuck? Okay, TikTok, your stupid fucking AI bullshit. Da, 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 da. Where are you at? No, right here. Because now I've got a restriction for violent behavior. Because I want to punch a car. You guys on TikTok need to fucking get your heads out of your ass, okay? This is why people become violent on your platform, okay? Um, mm, mm. Give me a second, folks, that are still here enjoying this broadcast. It's a good thing I have a therapy session later on today. Welcome back to calming, soothing stylings of your host here, Monty Anderson. Wow, you can show your butthole here on TikTok, but you can't talk about punching a car when you're working on it. Got it. Okay. Because that's violent behavior. But yet we can sell sex all the time. I'm probably going to get a violation for that. This platform is becoming a serious joke. You know, when I'm just going to sit here for a minute. They've already got my blood pressure through the roof right now. So I apologize, folks, for TikTok's behavior because they're stupid motherfucking AI. And this is why AI doesn't need to be used. This is why they need to have somebody sitting on the physical platform listening to the show. A person, not a fucking AI computer piece of shit. But no, they're never going to do that. They're just going to keep restricting people from speaking their mind, is what they're doing. And, you know, I am not talking about violence against someone else. I'm talking about violence to a inanimate object. You stupid AI piece of shit. Okay? Welcome to the show. Oh! Don't make me come at you with my little cleaver. Yes, it's a Damascus cleaver. I think I got this here on the TikTok shop. I could be wrong. They were selling cool stuff at one point in time, and they kind of stopped. But this was kind of cool. It was a 3-piece set or 4-piece set. I can't remember. So I've got 3 pieces here. I want to say there was 4, so I'm gonna have to do some digging down in there to see if there is that 4th piece. Because I thought there was a Skinner or something like that down in there too, but I don't know. So we've got 2 restrictions against us right now. One for trying to tell people to go outside of TikTok shop, which we did not. We were just talking about comic book conventions. And then now the violence one. Welcome to TikTok, where things are supposed to be fun and exciting, but yet they censor everything. Unless it's certain things that they enjoy to listen to, and it doesn't go against their guidelines. Chase your dreams, folks. Chase your dreams. That's what today's topic is about, is chasing your dreams 100%. If you have the opportunity to make it happen, please make it happen. And especially if you're in your 20s or 30s and you have the financial ability to do it, to whatever dream state that you're wanting to be in, go for it. Stop working for somebody else. Stop making money for somebody else. Start making the money for yourself. Start your own landscaping business. Start your own lawn service. You know, those are some of the easiest ways to make your dream happen, if that's what you're into. You know, if you're an artist, that's one of the toughest fields to get into. Absolutely. Because so many people are vying and jockeying for position when it comes to selling their artwork. Just like these 2 pieces behind me, they should be gone in somebody else's house already, but they're sitting in mine. And I don't like that. You know, I figured Ozzy would be a quick sell. Fuck, I've had it for 3 months now. You know, 2 or 3 months. And both of them. You know, we already showed this one over here that's on the ground, but that one up there, you know, I figured both of them would be gone by now, but here they are, still in my hands. It's just like my 3 portfolios of artwork. I figured that most of that would be gone. I had a huge sale going on. And, but nope, still sitting here with me, And is this stuff getting plugged on a regular basis? Absolutely. It's on my website. It's on my Facebook. It's on my Instagram. It's here on TikTok. But TikTok loves to restrict everything. So whenever you try to sell something outside the TikTok shop, since I've already got that fucking restriction, then they restrict you. And they even block your posts that you try to put out there. Because, you're not giving us money for selling on the TikTok shop. So nope, we're gonna shadow ban this post that you just did. Because I've had to repost several different times on my not prints, my originals that I've got. I've had to repost it 2 different times. I see one is getting a touch of love, and then the other one is not getting any love at all. Whereas the first time I posted, neither one of them got any love because nobody could see them, period. So at least I know one of them's getting seen. And I don't know if that has to do with the amount of pictures that is in it, or if it's just being blocked 100%. So if you do want to see them, you can jump over to my Facebook page and you can check them out there, because those videos are up. Not just videos, but the pictures are up of what is available to you, the consumer. So yeah, TikTok needs to have better regulations when it comes to how things run. Because pretty much any show anymore that I do, I get a restriction. I called a good friend of mine a something face, and I got restriction on that for harassment and bullying. Even though he would have been laughing had he been on the show at that point in time. And, we don't talk about that type of stuff. In fact, we advocate against that type of stuff, because 988 is the number that you want to call if you're having issues with, wanting to not be here anymore. It's a hotline, specific hotline number. You can't even say certain keywords here without getting a restriction or flagged. But yet, that's where the world needs to be at, is getting back to those keywords that you can say on any platform. You should not have to change a word just to get it out there. You should not have to change the things that you say or talk about just to get the point across because of a stupid AI bullshit computer that thinks it's best to restrict what you talk about. And that's TikTok in a nutshell. Now, certain people can get away with saying certain things, absolutely. And then they've got the other side of that where sex sells. Because you see it all the time on here. The scantily clad women, which a lot of people are going to go watch. You've got your people selling the products out there to get that girth up there. If this is your man, and hold on, where's something here? Trying to find something here, folks. This is your man, and this is the guy she says not to worry about. And I know you all seen those commercials for TikTok with people doing that shit with the pills and supplements and all that bullshit, out there. And now the women have it too. This makes you so juicy. Okay. If your guy or girl doesn't do that for you in the first place, then why are you taking products for it? You know, is it going to make you just as juicy? But yet, all that stuff can be talked about. Plus the book boxes, the blind book boxes, the dark romance ones that have the toy inside and not action figure toy. You know, so all that stuff is cool to talk about and show on TikTok, but yet you talk about selling merchandise outside a TikTok shop, restriction. You talk about certain keywords, unaliving hotline, you put the first word in there that starts with an S, restriction. You talk about hitting a car because you're frustrated when you're working on it, restriction, as I'm looking at my 2 restrictions right now. And it has nothing to do with involving an individual in the altercation. It has nothing to do with truly selling outside a TikTok shop, because that is not what I told you to do. That was my first restriction. I was talking about comic book conventions in general. So TikTok, you need to pull your fucking head out of your ass, get your AI bullshit under control, and if you're going to regulate my speech on here, you need to regulate a lot of other people's speech. And you need to give them the restrictions and violations that you're giving me. Because as I scroll through TikTok, I see a lot worse than what I talk about on a regular basis. I mean, when titties are popping out of shirts on here on this platform and you allow it, there's an issue. But I hold up a comic book of a piece of artwork and I get a restriction because it's going against the nudity clause. No, it doesn't. She's blocked out. She's censored. But yet, you still think that it isn't. But yet, again, you got people with their buttholes showing here on TikTok. You got people with their boobs popping out of their shirt or see-through clothing. But yet, that's okay. 100%. But I show a piece of artwork of a scantily clad female and I get a restriction, a violation. Make it make sense, TikTok. Make it make sense. You know? It needs to be straight across the board. If you're going to allow it for certain creators, you need to allow it for all creators. 100%. And this is what pisses people off on this platform. This is why you get a lot of people jumping ship from this platform. Because this is a shit platform. There is no, and you can't use freedom of speech because that's the incorrect term. I can't even think of what the term would be at this present juncture because I'm pretty pissed off. But you know I'm right. You know I'm right, Roy. You see what's out there on TikTok that does not get a violation or a flag. But yet I say certain things and boom, restriction, flagged. Excuse me. So yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to go in and hit these restrictions pretty hot and heavy. Well, absolutely, 100%. And they always are, you know, to allow certain things through, but yet not allow other things through. But yet the stuff that they allow to go through, which shouldn't be allowed to go through, it doesn't go against their violations or guidelines. Get real. Come on. The only reason they're letting it go through is because making a lot more money for them than I am. And that's the bottom line. It's money. they don't care about the entertainment value. They care about the money that's coming to them. Their chunk of the change before you get your chunk of the change. You know, so I guess I'm gonna have to start going topless, you know, on my platform. And you know, discussing platform restrictions and censorship on TikTok. Well, you're the fucking censorship police there, TikTok. So get your AI summary to help you out there. All right, folks, I am going to kill it for today because I am pissed off. And it's going to take me a hot minute to calm down. So I might go hit the punching bag. So you want to put that restriction on there? I'm going to go punch a punching bag, you stupid motherfucker. You all have a great day. And as I like to say as I leave you guys, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.